Main areas of effort in the 4.0 are the advanced setup and the daily operations. And I want to say there's about 40 changes that we've made. Just about every single one of these was a customer's suggestions. Starting with the advanced setup. You can touch on any screen in advanced setup, and anybody that's used Lynx is going to recognize that there's no apply button. Notice as well here on the control system, the map is visible. There is an auto zoom in the toolbar down here. Notice the look of the toolbar. Fewer buttons, more lists to choose from. So if I click on auto zoom and I zoom in on the map, there's no longer a zoom button, so you hold the shift key and then slash across the map. Zoom in on the map, and in my toolbar, I've got a box here called label. I can choose to have the tag visible, as we've had previously. I can also choose to have the address visible, which we've not had before, or I can choose to have them both. If I want to know information about a sprinkler, I can right mouse click on it and get the information box, instead of having to hit the information button and then hitting the station. Now, if I want to edit attributes of a station, I left mouse click it while I'm on the control system, and notice the control system opens up to that station, and that station is now flashing on the map. So by clicking on any station on the map, I can edit any and all attributes if I'm on the control system. It will take the control system and move you to that station. Notice as I scroll across the columns, we've reorganized where the columns are, and we've changed the freeze point so that when you're scrolling across the control system, you can always see the complete address. It used to be, if you wanted to edit something on a station and you scrolled across, you'd scroll all the way to the right-hand side, find the attribute you wanted, have to scroll back to the left-hand side to make sure you were on the right station. So we changed the freeze point so that no matter which column you want to view, you can always see the complete station address, the hardware address, and the area tag. For two-wire systems, we've added in the ability to find the station by a serial number. Click on the serial number radio button and type in 12345 and find. And the map will zoom to the location, and the control system will filter to that station. So the station that I just identified is right here, right in the middle, with a serial number of 12345. Data entry using the new no-click entry method. If you click here into the hole and type the number 1, it will assume last used. So the area field will automatically populate. So you click into the whole column, type the number 1, and then down arrow 1, down arrow 1, down arrow 1, down arrow 1. That's how you enter data now. It will assume that the next station uses the same area as the previous station. So if you're typing in 45 fairway stations, you click into the whole column, type in the number of the hole, and then hit the down arrow. Number, down arrow, number, down arrow. Because we use a template, all of the station data will be incorporated automatically. And because we're assuming last used, the only time you have to click is to change the area. Now, another common request was if you need to change the area assignment of a sprinkler, or excuse me, of a station, don't change the sprinkler attributes. For example, this station right here, it's got a different sprinkler on it, and it's in the fairways than the rest of the heads. If you need to change that from the fairways, let's say it really belongs in the roughs, notice it does not change the sprinkler type. A request that we had from the NSN group was when you have a name field, be able to copy the name field and put it from one station to the next. So now you can do that. If you want to copy a name and paste it, you can now do that from station to station. So if you put in one fairway, one tee, what have you, and you do that on the first head, and you then want to do copy that row and paste with attributes, the name field will follow. So now we go to the hydraulic screen, and notice that because I have auto zoom checked in the toolbar, when I moved screens, the map reset. The hydraulic screen has a different look to it. Starting with the tree, by default, is collapsed. When you select a branch that has stations assigned to it, two things will happen. The list of stations on the branch will go into the middle of the screen, and the map will zoom and highlight the stations on that branch. PMGs allow you to identify stations that are allowed to run simultaneously that are on the same branch. If we've moved the PMG control to only show up when you're looking at heads on a branch and you choose stations that you want to edit the PMG for. Notice as soon as I selected stations, the PMG control became available so that I can update stations. On the right-hand side of the screen, notice that the course is shown in orange. And if I expand, I can follow where an unassigned station is just by following the color. So the unassigned station is right here. And I was able to find that just by following the orange. You can do the same thing by hardware. So following and finding where that station is by area, by hardware, follow the orange, pick the station. When you select the station here, notice these two controls pop up. The plus sign is to add the station to a pipe. The minus sign is to remove the station from a pipe. So if I want to assign this head, I look here and see that the other stations are on hydraulic branch 28. I come over here and type in the number 28 and say find. There's branch 28. I want to assign this head to that branch. I click on the plus sign. And here is that hydraulic branch right here. And I just assigned that head to it. When you first come to the screen and you're looking at the source ramp, the control now is to set the number of steps. There's no more on-off buttons for turning off steps. You choose the number of steps you want. It does not affect the capacity. So when you change the number of steps, it resizes the steps. You still have the ability, if you want to set the first step smaller, you can do that. If you want to change the delay between steps, you can do that. If you change the source capacity, it will evenly distribute that across the number of steps that you defined. Okay, on the map. The map component itself, what is displaying the map, has been updated. And most of the screens that are used to edit the map have also been updated. The General tab here is the list where you would see layers available to be placed on the map, an image, if that's what you're using, the background color, and a scaling tool. So if you know the dimensions on a map between points, you've got sprinklers, you've got tees, you've got a tennis court, you've got something that you know the dimension from point A to point B. And you measure that on your map using one of the tools here. So you pick the ruler, and you go from this sprinkler to this sprinkler, and it says it's 60 feet. And you know that's actually 70 feet. You can use that to scale the map. You click on the Adjust button, measure between the two known points, and then type in what the actual distance is. Click on Commit and Save, and you've just scaled the map. And that scaling would work for polygons, it would work for lines, it would work for shape files. Even that map now can be used to measure areas when you scale it. The tabs across the top contain the same functions. The controls have been redone. Like here on the rendering, this is the Edit button. On the stations, you've got the same list of rendering methods. Then Adjust rendering method. We have simplified the number of categories for percent adjust. We had 20, we've cut it down to 10. And we've also applied a default coloring scheme ranging from dark brown to dark blue. So white is 100%, red is off, dark blue is 200% and above, dark brown is 25% and below. To edit the location of sprinklers, there's a button here, Edit, that when clicked will show what the controls are going to provide, which will be to add, move, or remove stations from the map. So to demonstrate how we will add stations, you can either just leave it at the default of Add, or show the list and click on Add, and then as the instructions describe here, you will have a list of stations, and on one fairway, the first 4 heads will be available to be placed onto the map. And as with all other station editing, what you're going to want to do is zoom in on the area, and this is one fairway here. And what you're going to see is there's a pipe right here with no heads on it. So the example will be to show how to place heads on the map. Click on the stations and they get added to this list right here. And the order in which you select the stations will be the order in which they go into the list. The order that the stations go onto the map is the order that they are in this list box. So by clicking here on the map, notice the list gets shorter as I click and place sprinklers on the map. The list boxes will be check boxes so that you can pick a whole area. You can pick one fairway, you can pick one green, you can pick one tee, pick all the heads at the same time, zoom the map into that area, and just click, 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 place the symbols onto the map. Removing the symbols will be selecting remove and then just clicking on the symbol that you want to remove. We will also have the ability for stations that have multiple heads on them to pick just the head. If there's more than one sprinkler, I'll put an example in here. I don't have one right now. Where there's more than one sprinkler on a station, we'll have the ability to choose how many of those sprinkler symbols you want to put on the map. So if you've got a station with 15 spray heads and you don't want to put 15 spray heads on the map, you can choose to just put one of them on the map. Pick the station you want, pick the number of sprinklers you want for it, and put those on the map. So you don't have to put them. You don't have to do all or none. Switching now to daily operations. In the manual irrigation screen, we've changed the default runtime selected from 20 minutes to 5. That was a common request. Hey, 20 minutes is too much. I never run that much. I'm always having to change it. And we've made sure that, regardless of how you select the stations, the full name is listed. So here under hardware, I can see the station number, the area tag, and the name. If I look at it by program, station tag, hardware address, and station name. The work order screen. The appearance of the screen hasn't changed. What has changed on the work orders is that when you go to the control system, the hydraulic screen, or the diagnostics screen, there will be the ability to jump to the work order with a printer button. There's a printer button right here. I'm on the diagnostic screen. So I want to pick stations to run a diagnostic for. And I'm going to go to number 2 fairway. That's the area that I want to run the diagnostic for. The map will zoom to that area and identify the stations that you've selected to run the diagnostic on. What will happen is after you've selected the area and hit the start button, then the station that you're on will flash. The others will not be flashing. They'll just be selected as white. The one that is running will be flashing, and the result that occurs will either be a green for pass or a red for fail. So when you've got a diagnostic run on the map and you want to save that, you'll be able to jump to the work order, type in what annotation you want. If you want to draw on the map, you can pick the tool to draw, and then you can save your work order. And if you want to print it, you'll have the ability to do that. So if guys want to do a diagnostic, save the results, or print it and take it with them to the field, that's what the printer button will do. It will jump you from the screen you're on back to the work order. For those customers that use station groups, the map will now show you the stations that are available to be placed into a station group for the purpose of picking them from the map. So that what's flashing here now are the stations that are on station group 1, and those stations that are white are in this sequence. So the map will show you what's available to be picked and what's in a given sequence. The watering plan. As you drill down on the watering plan, the map will auto zoom and highlight the station you selected in the watering plan. So if you wanted to walk down on my number 2 green, I want to see where the heads are on number 2 green. And it jumps to center whatever station you selected. Instant programs. We've added in a new box here to allow for the selection of stations based on hardware. So if somebody wants to build an instant program based on stations on a station group, stations on a satellite, they can do that in addition to the creation of a program by the area or the creation of the program by site codes.